Hello and welcome to Western Washington History. This video will be the first in a series we will call Then and Now. The idea of this came to me after a recent outing with my son. We were waiting for a late Amtrak, so we stopped at Titlow Beach in Tacoma. Titlow Beach is located at the far west end of 6th Avenue in Tacoma, with a view of the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. Aaron Titlow was born in Dayton, Ohio and raised in Delphi, Indiana. He graduated law school in 1885 and moved to Tacoma in 1888. He opened a law firm in Tacoma called Titlow and Applegate. He invested all of the money he'd saved and bought real estate, mostly on Fox Island and in Gig Harbor. In 1893, he married Stella Smart, a lady from his old hometown. They had 5 children. By 1903, Titlow owned 300 lots and 5 farms. In 1899, they had a house built for them at 410 South Sheridan Street in Tacoma. In 1903, Aaron and Stella bought 75 acres on the waterfront that is now Titlow Park. Titlow petitioned the city to extend 6th Avenue down to his property, and they did. Titlow hired Tacoma architect Frederick Heath in 1911 to design a Swiss chalet-style building. Heath designed Stadium High School in Tacoma, which had been built in 1906, as well as Paradise Inn at Mount Rainier, which would be built in 1917. Heath also designed many other historic schools and buildings. We will have a video on his company in the future. The building would be called the Hesperides Hotel. History says his daughters inspired him to name it that. In Greek mythology, Hesperides are nymphs of the evening, daughters of the evening, or nymphs of the west. They lived in a garden and kept watch over some golden apples. The hotel, which cost $50,000 to build, had 30 rooms. It had bathrooms with hot water and was 3.5 stories tall. The hotel also had a saltwater pool, a barber shop, pool tables, and a glass-bottom boat for looking at the Puget Sound. The hotel was an upscale establishment catering to the upper class. The Titlow family ran the hotel themselves. One of their sons was the bellboy. In 1917, the ferry from Titlow Beach to Gig Harbor and Fox Island began. Mr. Titlow started selling off his business holdings about 1922. Aaron Titlow died in 1923, and in 1925 the house was sold and converted into a multi-family housing. In 1926, some of the Titlow land was sold to Tacoma Metro Parks, and in 1928 they bought the rest of the land and the hotel. The house and what is left of the hotel are both designated historical landmarks today. The hotel opened back up in 1928 as Titlow Hotel, now run by the park. They added a 9-hole miniature golf course, and the tennis courts were expanded. The 2-story garage where the original guest chauffeurs would sleep was relocated closer to the water and turned into a dressing room, concession stand, and an office for the lifeguards. The hotel still did poorly. The hotel portion was closed the following year. By 1937, the Great Depression was underway, and the park couldn't afford to take care of the old building. They were planning to demolish it, but people protested the action. So in 1938, the WPA, or Works Progress Administration, a program that was designed during the Great Depression to get people to work, as well as fix and build infrastructure across the country, set up shop at Titlow Beach. They removed 2 floors of the hotel and put a new roof on. The Titlow Lodge was converted to a house for the park superintendent, but also had an area to rent for events. The WPA also built water fountains, improved tennis courts, built benches, picnic shelters, bridges, and storm drains, as well as other things I'm sure time has forgotten. The superintendent in 1945 was Carl Larson, and he lived there with his wife Geneva and their 4 children until he passed away in a car wreck in 1955. Geneva then took over and stayed there until 1973, signing people up to rent the event room, cleaning the facilities, and caring for the flower beds. The ferry stopped coming to Titlow in 1940 when the original Narrows Bridge opened. Then after the bridge collapsed, the ferry began service to Titlow again until 1950 when the new bridge was opened. A new saltwater swimming pool was opened in 1955. The new pool was 165 feet long and 75 feet wide. It had a shallow and a deep end with 3 diving boards. They had a 2-day pancake feed for the grand opening called the Griddle Go Round, and even had guest star Aunt Jemima there. She was on tour at the time. By 1958, the saltwater pool was converted to a freshwater pool. In 1973, when Geneva retired and moved out, a new superintendent named Charnel Scotton and her family moved in. Charnel turned the event spot into a community center with quilting class, dog obedience classes, and more. Scotton moved out in 1990, and in 1992 the caretaker apartment was converted to offices and more event rental. Titlow Park is a great destination whether you live in Tacoma or even as a small road trip destination. There is a playground, restroom facilities, an open field, a saltwater beach area, paved beach boardwalk, a loop walking path that takes you back to where you started, a small lake, and a designated scuba area where you can explore the remains of the old ferry dock. There is even a sturdy bridge over the railroad tracks. If you are fortunate, as my son and I were, you may get to see the train go by. Of course, the hotel remains and can be rented for events. That is my story of Titlow Park. That is not all there is to Titlow. There was a movie studio there once that was the second or third largest in the country. There is also Titlow Beach Tavern that has been going strong for 89 years. I hope to revisit and make a full video of the area at a later date. Like and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you for spending this time with us, and remember, what you do today is history tomorrow, so make it count.